Gauteng MEC Khumalo and Joburg officials have donated food parcels and sleeping bags to the Marshalltown fire victims. Last month, an overcrowded 5-story inner-city building was engulfed by a blaze, claiming 77 lives. Hundreds have been left homeless and some are being accommodated in temporary shelters.
Now, the Gauteng provincial government, led by the MEC of COGTA, in partnership with the city of Johannesburg, have visited one of the shelters that are temporary housing victims of Usindiso building. You'd understand that after the fire broke out, the city officials, or rather disaster management, then took victims into different centers. Now, this one is Imbilo shelter in GP's town. They were handing out, packs that could possibly assist these victims that are currently being housed here. Now, what we are sensing here is an issue of fear from these victims who don't know what would possibly happen to them after, after officials rather have come up with a solution, or rather, as they're still in a state of waiting and not knowing what's going to happen to them, after this disaster, because you'd understand that most of them have lost their belongings and also places of staying. But to answer that, we have the MEC. Sir, thank you very much for your time. We just want to understand, seemingly we will be, dealing with such cases in the Gauteng province. But now, how do we then come up with solutions to prevent such from happening?
Look, the first thing is that this is a disaster. And if in a disaster, what you do, you take people in temporary places. It means within that we need to discuss what do we do with them in the long term. Now, one of the principles of social housing, for instance, is that if you've removed a person from one place to another, you need to look at a place at which this person will pay a rent equal to the one that they've been paying. That's the first thing. So if we can get a place within the social housing space that would accommodate the survivors, so to say, we will be able to do that. The second one is that generally we're looking at the alternate places for the people, particularly those who are in the CBD, because we want to renew the CBDs and ensure that they reflect what a city is all about. So part of the plans there, as part of this CBD or urban renewal, is to get alternative place. In Gauteng, we're talking about the land repeat program, in other words, identifying a piece of land, service that piece of land, and get people to come and build for themselves, because other people are saying this RDP is small, I can afford to build myself a particular house and all of those. So all of those plans are plans that are going to be put in place. So part of the urban renewal, for instance, is to renew the same accommodation that you find within the city. I was saying today in one of the gatherings that we had that there are basic things that we've got to do. For instance, if you look at the Fire Preventing Act, it tells us what a suitable building and accommodation is all about. So if you look at all these buildings that we have in the city, we could have resolved them if we implement our bylaws and we implement other prescripts that guides us in terms of what then is the standard acceptable for a place to accommodate our people and all of those kind of things. So we committed ourselves, and the President said this is a wake-up call. We are committing ourselves to ensure that we do the basics.